this little video, it's only going to be a little short clip, and it's about our Tacho drive. Now, the Tacho is driven off the back of the camshaft on the Perkins. On the 4203 and the 65s, the 135s and things like that, they're driven off the back of the cam. The 135 and the 35, they have a 3-bolt plate here, where our engine has the 4-bolt. Now, early in the series, this thread was all chowdered up and all buggered up. So I think there's a video there somewhere of me putting a new piece of aluminium, like I machined it flat, machined the buggered bit off, put a thread in here, 7/8 UNF thread in the housing, made this piece of alloy here, me out of a billet, with a 7/8 thread, screwed it in, Loctited it in place so that won't go anywhere, and that will give us the thread for the Tacho cable to go on now. So it's handy to have a lathe. So, pardon me. There's a couple of little features on it. Now, the seal sits this way there, and with the lip to the camshaft or to the front of the engine, you can see a little lip there, the little garter seal there. And with that sealing the cam here so it doesn't leak up the cable, there's a tiny little hole down the bottom here. Now that little hole, you can see it just in there, down in there. So the idea of that little hole is if the seal does go hard and cracks or breaks or something like that, the oil, instead of pushing up the cable, with a bit of oil pressure pushing up the cable, it actually leaks externally, so it leaks outside. So if you have a Perkins powered tractor and you have oil coming out down around here, it can be a sign that this seal's crook. It needs replacing. So you can buy the seal on its own. The seal is Sparex number S41371, and and it just pushes into the housing. So it just needs a little bit of a, well, I use a socket or just look, whatever is the right size to push on the outside of the seal. And there is a lip inside there, so you can't go too far in. So I might just, sometimes I just wind a seal in, a little seal like this, I just wind it in with the press with the soft jaws. And that's even all the way around. I think it's okay. I'll just give it a bit of a love tap. Oh, it might have went a little bit. And so that's our seal in. There's a little shoulder up in the back there for the seal to go down to. Now where this seal's on the camshaft, there is quite a long section there, so make sure the camshaft's nice and tidy and clean. I've got all the bolts ready to go. I've put new spring washers on them. They're 5/16 UNF by probably 3/4, I would imagine. Now on this surface here, you see this little piece here as well. Now oil that gets in this cavity here that we're trying to seal from going up to the Tacho cable, there's a little hole in the block, and that takes this oil, any oil that gets caught here, it takes it back into the sump. So, and the idea is it returns any oil, so any oil pressure in this cavity is relieved, and that way this seal has far less to worry about, as in less pressure. So as per normal, you know I love grease, don't you? So we'll put a bit of grease around there. So we've got that ready to go, and I've got a confession to make. There should be a gasket here. Well, I've had that gasket sitting over on the bench there for weeks and months while I was waiting to get to this, and you think I can find the damn thing? But anyway, look, what I'm going to do is just put a smear of 515 around here. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You don't want big heaps. Well, mainly because well, particularly around here, you don't want to be blocking that little hole up. But around the side here, look, it just doesn't matter. It's a nice flat machine surface on the block. So I'm just going to do that, and what that'll do for us as well as replace the gasket that Lance lost is, and I've spent most of the morning looking for that damn thing, and like it sat over on that bench for months, and I was like, oh, there it is, and till the day I find it. I'll put this on, then we'll find it. So, yeah, a little bit of Loctite 515 around there. That'll put the seal in a little bit further, and that's fine, no problems there. So, we'll go and set the camera up over on the engine, and we'll just fit this to the engine, then this little segment will be done. Okay, so we're over at the engine. Now, this little slot here, it's got a square up inside it to drive the square on the Tacho cable. This is replaceable. They're a bugger to get out, but you can get them out. And this seal surface here, that larger part, that's where the seal will sit. So the seal will seal there. Now that tiny little hole down the bottom there, that was the hole I was saying about when any oil gets in this cavity here, it pushes out that hole. So that's why we haven't got an awful lot of Loctite down that bottom end. But that should sit in there nicely for us. We'll just try and turn him in as we go, just to make sure the seal's hooked in. Like I say, these are just 5/16 UNF bolts. And if you have a 35-135, a 3-cylinder, this will have 3 holes, not 4, or 3 bolts retaining it, and not 4. So we'll just pop that on there. I'll grab a spanner. We'll just try, and it's only an alloy housing, so we'll try and pull it in nice and evenly. You can see the Loctite's popped out there, so that's okay. And the thing with Loctite 515 is you don't get that little silicon bead that you might get when you use an RTV. And that's all we need to do there. Look at this, Australian Sid Chrome spanner. They haven't made them like that for a long time, and I found one the other day to buy. What a beauty. So that's that fitted. I will wipe any excess Loctite off, and I'm yet to tape it up. I'll put a bit of tape over the thread, and I will prime that next time I have some primer in the gun. But that's just a little quickie on how to do the Tacho drive seal.